We turn now to that terrifying school shooting. At least 4 dead and 9 wounded at a Georgia high school. The suspect, just 14 years old, a student, is in custody. We are told he will be charged as an adult. President Biden saying in a statement, "We cannot continue to accept this as normal."
And ABC's Faith Abubey joins us now from Winder, Georgia. Faith, thank you for being with us. And first, who were the victims in this shooting?
Well, good afternoon to you, Will. We know the trauma here extends beyond just the physical wounds. There are countless people who were inside that building behind me when all of this unfolded yesterday. They saw the horror. They heard the gunshots. They're going to have to deal with that trauma. But also, police were telling us that there were 4 people who were killed in this incident. 2 of them were just 14 years old. They were students here. The other 2 were teachers. One of them was a math teacher and a defensive coordinator. We're also learning 9 people were taken to the hospital. They received some sort of medical treatment. Some of them received physical wounds, but the others just had panic attacks as they were going through this process. So all of that, of course, just happening in the last 24 hours. They're still dealing with this in this community, and they're hoping to get some sort of closure as this investigation continues.
Faith, what have we learned so far about how this shooting unfolded?
Yeah, so the active shooter report started going into law enforcement around 10:20 yesterday morning. And this is important in terms of how it came in, because it wasn't just a phone call. In fact, just a week ago, the school put in a new system where they used ID badges, where staff members could just press a button on those ID badges to indicate to law enforcement that there's some sort of active shooter situation inside the school. And a week after they put that system in place, they were already using it yesterday. And so that's what happened. Staff members pressed that button. Active shooter signals went into law enforcement. They rushed over here to the scene. Of course, the school was on lockdown at the time. There were resource officers who were on campus, but the officers, they did encounter that shooter within minutes of arriving here on campus. They say when they encountered him, he sort of just gave up. He surrendered without incident and put his gun down. He sort of knew there was nowhere else to go, and so they took him into custody. We were waiting for him to be booked, and also we are told, again, as you just mentioned earlier, that he would be tried as an adult. But in talking to the students here, as all of that was going on, they were barricaded behind closed doors. They were inside those classrooms, huddled together. Some of them were screaming, they were crying, and of course having to deal with all of that, and then walking out and evacuating to the football field, some of them walking by the bodies of their teachers.
Just unimaginable. And Faith, we're learning that authorities had previously questioned the suspect here?
Yeah, that's right. The FBI did acknowledge this overnight. They said that back in May of last year, they received several anonymous tips about an online post with a gun that indicated there was some sort of a school shooting being planned. There was no indication of a specified location or specified time, but they were aware of that. Within 24 hours, they did determine that this was coming from Georgia, and they tracked down the suspect. It was a 13-year-old at the time. We're told that that is the same person who's now 14 years old, who's now the shooting suspect here in the situation. So they tracked him down, talked to him and his father, interviewed them. The father said that he did have hunting guns, and those were, in the house. However, he didn't believe that the teenager at the time had any unsupervised access to those guns. And so all of that, of course, is part of this investigation as well. Authorities did alert the local schools here in the area. This happened in the neighboring county to Barrow County, where we are right now. But of course, authorities are combing over what they did. Did everything go correctly? Did they take all the right steps to prevent this? And of course, we won't know any answers anytime soon.
Yeah, it's just so hard to hear all the details. And so often after these types of shootings, people can't help but ask how and why. What questions are investigators still asking today?
Eva, that is the crux of what they're trying to determine at this point. Why did this happen? Why the school? Why this time? Why these victims? And, I asked some of those questions to authorities yesterday, and they said, these are answers we may never get, but they're trying to dig as deeply as possible to either get those answers from the suspected shooter or try to figure it out some other ways. They're interviewing his relatives, his parents, and of course, the students who are here at the school, the staff members, and trying to get some sort of answers so this community can have some sort of closure.
Faith Abubey there for us. Thank you so much, Faith.